I have sickle cell disease, and nearly every year I ask myself, why was I born with this condition? I asked myself this question when my parents first told me about the disease. I asked myself this question when I was going through crises nearly every month as a young kid. I asked myself this question when I struggled to keep up with my friends when I'm playing basketball or physical sports. And even today, as a 30-year-old male who's pretty healthy and hasn't had a crisis in a few years, I still ask myself this question, why was I born with this disease? As I get older, my perspective on this disease continues to change and evolve. And before I really dive into what I believe is the answer for myself, I would like to just give a brief synopsis of my story with sickle cell for those who may not be familiar. So if you ever ask me, what was the hardest thing you ever went through? For me, I would easily say sickle cell disease was the hardest thing I ever went through. I had a really bad breakup. I did pharmacy school, and I've had all types of struggles, but easily the hardest struggle I've ever had in my life was going through sickle cell crises. And when I was a young kid, I used to be hospitalized every month. Every month I'm in and out of the hospital, and I'm just going through the most agonizing pain I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. Pain that's so bad that I can't even describe it. For a woman who have bared pregnancy, a woman with sickle cell disease say that the pain is just as bad or worse than bearing birth. So that gives you somewhat of an idea, but the pain was really bad, and I would go through these episodes every month, and I just had no idea what to do. And I nearly lost my life to it. I had pneumonia, I had acute chest syndrome, but thanks to the great medical team at Boston Medical Center, my life has been saved, and I'm still here today. So when I'm going through these incredibly terrible episodes, it's bad because, first of all, you don't know how long these episodes are last for. They can last for a couple minutes, they can last for hours, and you're pretty much literally just feeling a bunch of achy, throbbing needles on you for hours, minutes, and depending on where it is, it can be really bad. For me, easily the worst episodes were in my back, and I would just be, if you look at me, it just looks like I'm having a seizure attack, and it's bad. It's bad. And so while I'm having these crises, I'm just going through this terrible pain, and I'm 9 years old, 10 years old, and this is going on and on for years. And I asked my mom the question, hey mom, why was I born with this condition? And my mom gave me an answer that even to this day, decades later, I have not forgotten. And she said, God gives his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. And so back then, I believed in God, but I wasn't really intentional about developing a relationship with God. I really went to church because my parents told me to, and you just kind of go to church because that's how you grew up. It wasn't until I've gotten older that my relationship with God has become very important for me, and I started to strengthen it on my own. So I started praying. I've been meditating a lot. I've been journaling, and I go to church often as well. And in addition to all of that, I read the Bible every day on the weekdays. And in reading the Bible, I gained massive clarity towards this question I've been asking myself for decades. When I was reading the Bible, specifically in the book of John, I found this verse that really resonated with me and spoke to my soul and gave me clarity. And I would like to share the story and give context towards the Bible verse. The Bible verse is in John chapter 9, verses 2-3. And essentially, to give some context, Jesus and the disciples are walking, And while they're walking, they see a blind man. And so the disciples see this blind man, and they're curious and a bit confused. They're like, "Hey, Jesus, why is this guy blind? Did he sin, or did his parents sin?" Jesus answered the question, and he said, "Neither him or his parents sinned. He was born blind so that the power of God could be displayed in him." And when I heard that verse, it really resonated with me so much. And I knew that was the answer God had for me. I simply replaced the word blind with sickle cell disease. Why was this man born with sickle cell disease? And I've realized, and I've come to learn that God gave me this disease to shine a light and serve as an opportunity to be a testimony for other people. Not just people with sickle cell, but people who may be going through chronic conditions and their own chronic issues. Through all this incredible pain I went through, pain that I would not wish upon anybody, crises that nearly killed me, crises that made me lose so much weight that you could see like the ribs on my body, and just so much mental anguish, I came up alive and strong and healthier than ever. And I'm so grateful to God for how much He's done for me. And I believe that He put me with this condition so I could share and give hope to other people. How I know that this Bible verse is the answer to the question that I've been asking myself for so long is because, ironically, this same answer of being a testimony for God's glory connects deeply with what my name is. For those who don't know, people call me Ike, but it's actually short for my Nigerian name, which is Ikechukwu. And Ikechukwu means God's strength. And so I actually wear this shirt. I say strength comes from God because low-key, it actually represents me and my name. And I think it's super hard. If it wasn't for God's strength, I wouldn't be here, honestly. I've been through so much in my life, and despite how hard my struggles have been with sickle cell disease, it has given me the strength to overcome any obstacle I've ever come across. Because anytime I come across an issue, whether it's with people, whether it's with finances, whether it's with health issues, every time I'm like, this is nothing compared to the pain that I used to go through all the time. So with God's strength, I'm able to persevere through so much. In addition to the character developed, God has blessed me with opportunities to share my story and inspire others. This video is a powerful reminder of God's glory, how much He's able to push people through, how much He's able to bless you even in disguise. And I'm creating this video not only for myself, so I can truly understand the nature of my disease and the purpose it gives me, but also to encourage those who may have a chronic condition. Maybe it's autism, maybe it's diabetes, maybe it's some cancer that you were born with, or maybe you were born blind. I just wanted to make this video because you probably had the same questions. Why was I born with something that I can't control? You know, I didn't ask for this. Like, I didn't ask to be made like this. And I truly believe that for all of us who have these chronic conditions, we all have an incredible opportunity to be a beautiful testimony for God. And I don't take that for granted. I think your condition is a part of a beautiful story that one day will inspire many people. And I hope this video does that for you. I hope it inspires you to lavish in God's glory and appreciate all the great works He's done for us. I hope this video serves as a reminder of God's strength. And if God is for us, who can be against us?